This is Vince McMahon, owner of the World Wrestling Federation and sociopath in hiding. He wanted the WWF to be the biggest wrestling game in town. His biggest competition was another promotion known as Jim Crockett Promotions. They had an event called Starrcade, so Vince wanted to up them by creating WrestleMania. But he didn't want it to just be a wrestling show. No. It had to be the most stupendous wrestling show. So we got a broadcast deal with USA Network in 1983 to have better broadcasting for it. He also worked with MTV to make this into a spectacle. There were two MTV wrestling shows. The first was called The Brawl to End It All. They had one match be broadcasted on MTV. Wendy Richter, who was huge at the time with Cyndi Lauper, taking on Fabulous Moolah. Wendy Richter would end up defeating Fabulous Moolah, ending the 28-year title reign, and her reign of terror had ended. The second was The War to Settle the Score. I know, these names are great. Nothing of note happened here other than Hogan beating up Roddy Piper by DQ. Muhammad Ali would also be at the event. Cool.
WrestleMania was the biggest gamble of Vince McMahon's entire life. He put his entire life savings in, all the chips pushed in, because if he lost and WrestleMania flopped, he would have gone bankrupt. And I can just imagine how funny it would be to see Vince McMahon working at McDonald's or Walmart or something.
Now that the preliminaries are over, it's time for the first WrestleMania! The first match. This is Tito Santana, good looking, kinda charismatic, and was in Legends of Wrestling, which was an awful game. He was a rising star in the mid-card, and he would be put in the opening match of WrestleMania. His opponent was the Executioner. Who the hell is this guy? So apparently this guy's name is Playboy Buddy Rose. A guy who went from promotion to promotion trying to make it. For some reason, they decided to take away his Playboy gimmick and just put him in a bad mask. It's pretty obvious who is going to win this. Santana defeats the Executioner in 4 minutes and 49 seconds with a figure 4. Good for Santana, and the Executioner got executed. This match features King Kong Bundy, a big man with a big gut, and he uses it to his advantage. Jimmy Hart was his manager because why not? His opponent was this guy, Special Delivery Jones. Never heard of him, but he's a veteran, so I guess that means something. Bundy gets Jones in the corner, splashes him, 3 count. Bundy wins in 25 seconds. Never heard of Special Delivery, but he was especially delivered a can of butt whipping. Steamboat goes by the Dragon and has an incredibly acrobatic talent. Matt Bourne was a second-generation wrestler and would go on to play Doink the Clown. But for this show, he'd just be straight up Matt Bourne. Steamboat ended up beating Matt Bourne with a flying crossbody of 4 minutes and 39 seconds. Steamboat's career carries on as Matt Bourne has to wait before becoming a clown. Brutus Beefcake, professional wrestling, professional barber, and host of The Barber Shop. At this time, he was a heel working with Johnny Valiant. David Sammartino was the son of the legendary WWE legend Bruno Sammartino, who was in his corner and is trying to live up to his father's legacy, which never happened. Like, do you know who David Sammartino is? Do you? Because I didn't. Both guys go back and forth until David gets thrown out of the ring and Johnny Valiant slammed him and threw him back into the ring. Bruno Sammartino gets pissed and attacks Johnny Valiant. All 4 men start fighting and the ref calls for the match, ending in disqualification. Wow, that fucking sucked. Greg Valentine is the current Intercontinental Champion. Known as The Hammer, he was a rough and tough wrestler. Prior to WrestleMania, he defeated Tito Santana for the championship and would go on into Mania as champion. Also, Jimmy Hart is back out here. Junkyard Dog was a charismatic wrestler and was over with the crowd. He wore a dog collar and was moving up in the company. Junkyard would dominate the match, but Valentine would play dirty by putting his feet on the ropes. Tito Santana came out to stop this cheating behavior, and the match was restarted. Valentine would get counted out, leading to Junkyard Dog winning the match, but failing to win the title due to the titles not changing via countout. Again, shitty ass finish. Who booked this? Oh yeah, I wonder who booked this. Our first team is Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. Volkov is a Russian and Iron Sheik is an Iranian. They hated America and America hated them too. Classy Freddie Blassie was their manager and he was just as hated as the Sheik and Nikolai. Their opponents were Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham. They are the current tag team champions and love America. I mean, who doesn't, right? Who doesn't? It's the 1980s. Who doesn't love America? Also, Captain Lou Albano was their manager. The US Express would take control at first, but the match would change when Iron Sheik grabbed Classy Blassy's cane and walloped to win him while the ref had his back turned. Volkov would get the pin and the anti-Americans win the tag titles. I mean, it could be worse. We could have had another disqualification finish, you know? That would have just made me so happy. This is Andre the Giant. Heard of him? Yeah, he's pretty big. He's a big man. He was also in this movie that I can't remember the title of for some reason. Andre has been undefeated for 15 years, at least according to WWE lore. His opponent is another big man, Big John Studd. He had a challenge where he would give whoever could body slam him $15,000. Many would fail until Andre the Giant decided to step up, and he almost did it. But it was broken up by Freddie Blassie, and Freddie Blassie stopped it from happening. Of course, Studd would then be slammed many times by Hulk Hogan, and even Andre, but screw that, it pretends Studd was never power slammed. Big John Studd would align with Bobby the Brain Heenan, who was a very bad man. At WrestleMania, Big John Studd would fight Andre, and if Andre failed to body slam Big John Studd, then Andre would have to retire from wrestling. Could Andre lose? Could this be the end of Andre the Giant? Well, fortunately for Andre, he's able to body slam Big John Studd and throws all the money in the air, but Bobby grabs the bag and runs with whatever is left in it. Classic Bobby Heenan. Wendy Richter is the former women's champion. She lost it to Leilani Kai, who is managed by Fabulous Moolah. Cyndi Lauper is also here in the corner of Wendy Richter because, you know, why not? Leilani Kai was trained by Fabulous Moolah and became the champion by beating Wendy Richter, and now the rematch occurs at WrestleMania. Fabulous Moolah would grab Wendy Richter and try to beat her up, but Cyndi Lauper would come in for the save. Kai would go to the top for a crossbody, but Wendy would roll through it and get the pin to become women's champion once again. Wendy Richter would hold on to the title and was focused as the face of the division, until Fabulous Moolah and Vince McMahon would conspire to screw Wendy Richter out of the championship. This was the original screw job, and it led to Richter to leave the WWF, never to return to the ring again, while Fabulous Moolah got to be champion for like another year or so. Fuck Fabulous Moolah. Main event time. Leading up to WrestleMania, Roddy Piper would smash a coconut to Jimmy Snuka on Piper's Pit, and after this, Roddy Piper would recruit Cowboy Bob Orton, father of Randy Orton, as a bodyguard. Hulk Hogan would appear on Hot Commodities 4 days before WrestleMania with Richard Belzer. This would end up being a disaster for Hulk Hogan. Belzer took shots at wrestling and called it fake, so Hogan locked on a sleeper and choked out Belzer live on television, dropping him unconscious on the stage. This would injure Belzer, and he sued Hulk Hogan in a lawsuit that would go to the New York Supreme Court, but they were able to settle it out of court. Anyways, back to wrestling. Mr. T was a friend of Hulk Hogan, and they joined forces while Roddy Piper found Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff as his partner. Also, Muhammad Ali, Billy Martin, and Lee Brace were there. The match was a spectacle, with all four men brawling and Ali even getting involved a bit. Paul Orndorff and Piper gained the advantage, but a mistake by Cowboy Bob led to Hulk Hogan pinning Orndorff for the win. Frustrated, Piper attacked the referee before fleeing backstage, leaving Orndorff to face the victorious Hogan and Mr. T alone. And that's the story of WrestleMania 1, I guess, in like 10 minutes. WrestleMania 1 was a massive success. It would go on to elevate the WWF to the biggest promotion in the sport. Be at all the other territories, and Vince's big-ass gamble paid off. And now we've gone through 40 of these events, so I guess I'll see you for the next one. Ciao.
Overall, I think WrestleMania 1 was actually a fine show. Remember, wrestling was a lot different in the 1980s. Like, you're not seeing 450 splashes or shooting star presses, alright? The best you get is like a crossbody off the top. So, we have to take that in consideration. And in consideration, I'd probably give it a 5. While the wrestling wasn't really that incredible, even in 1980 standards, the spectacle of WrestleMania was what really made it, and the main event was like the main spectacle. So, and WrestleMania 1 would be a massive success for WWF, and it would catapult Vince McMahon at the top of the mountain in terms of wrestling promotions, as many of them died off and Vince McMahon became the one and only promotion left. There you go, that's WrestleMania 1, so hope you like it. Bye-bye.